And joining us in these discussions, we have Mr. Sanket as Bhondve, the personal secretary to the Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways, a minister who's been revolutionizing the transport infrastructure in the country, and his personal secretary joins us in these discussions. We have Mr. C.V. Raman, the Chief Technical Officer, Maruti Suzuki India Limited. So two from the automotive manufacturers. And we also have Mr. Puneet Anand, the Assistant Vice President and Group Head, Corporate Affairs and Corporate Communications, Government Relations, Policy Management and CSR of Hyundai India. The session, ladies and gentlemen, being moderated by Mr. Dhruv Behl, the founder and managing editor of AutoX and the director Exhibitions India Group.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a little late, but you're in for a fantastic session. So thank you for joining us. We've had an incredible first 2 days at the 30th Convergence India and 8th Smart Cities India Expo. And the reason we've had a fantastic 2 days is because we had an absolutely fantastic opening ceremony yesterday, and I owe a thanks to Sanket ji for ensuring that the Honorable Minister was the chief guest at the opening ceremony yesterday, and it was an absolutely fantastic opening. It started off the expo on the perfect note because it was a note of opportunity, of positivity, and in keeping with the theme of the expo, we also talked about sustainability. And that's also what we're going to discuss today in the realm of mobility. So Sanket ji, thank you so much for joining us once again this year. Thank you so much for ensuring that Mantri ji was here for the opening yesterday. It means a great deal to us. Raman san, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to interact with you in any format. So thank you for being here. Puneet, thank you so much for your continued support. As you said, this is your show as much as our show, so thank you again for being a part of this panel. So I'm cognizant of the time, so I'm not going to take any time on opening remarks. Suffice to say that we're going to cover a huge range of topics. I want to start out by requesting the speakers to give some opening remarks, but I just want to say one thing before we start. And I narrated this story yesterday when we were welcoming the Honorable Minister, that as part of the group, as some of you know, we publish an auto journal, AutoX. And normally we do car and bike reviews and they get a lot of engagement. In the current issue, and recently we did a video of the first phase of the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway. So we did a story where we had one car do the old Delhi-Jaipur highway. And we had one car do the first phase of the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, so to Delhi to Jaipur. And we put out this video, and immediately we got 75,000 views. We got so many people commenting and so much engagement that it was, I was completely amazed by the response. That normally we would never do a highway review. But here we've got a highway review that has got more engagement and more attention than a normal car and bike review, because this is what people want. This is what people of our country have been craving. The infrastructure development at the rate at which it's taking place today has never taken place in this country before, and it's courtesy of your ministry. So thank you very much for that. Over to you, Sanket ji, for your opening remarks.
Thank you, Dhruv. Thank you, my colleagues on the dais. Yeah, I'm sorry I'm a little late. Actually, today we are here. Yesterday our Minister, Honorable Minister Nitin Gadkari ji visited, and he was so fascinated. I think after post-COVID and how the Pragati Maidan, this venue has taken shape, this is one of the few expo which is really vibrant, dynamic. And I will say first of all the credit goes to you, Dhruv, your whole team. Chandrika is here, the knowledge partner, जो हमारे भी partner है पुनीत जी, KPM जी, and all the whole team. Now see, we are here somewhere at the start of the new financial year. The topic given to this session is sustainable mobility. Basically, it's fine that we have two people, great experts, who will speak on the automobile and motor vehicle part. Kunal was with me, but Kunal somehow is not well and he couldn't join. so I have the mantle. But about infrastructure, as you said, I will just tell you, we were talking about one greenfield highway, Delhi, Mumbai, the Delhi Jaipur part. Let me tell you, we are building 27 greenfield expressway in India. And when I say that 27 greenfield expressway, greenfield like the freshly cut, which goes through the remote villages, which there are a lot of advantages. The land cost is less, and it will really change the dynamics. So, in fact, today I have a very short presentation. I have titled it Infrastructure World, because somewhere sustainable mobility do also gets connect with infrastructure. My colleagues here will talk on the other aspects, but what we are doing, our ministry today, as you all know, we are the per kilometer per day. At a time we were like 38 kilometers per day, we were constructing national highway, and that is a world record. Apart from that, many green projects, upcoming tunnels, ropeways, green financing, monetization, there are many new things. If we start talking, I can talk at a length, but I think it is just a start. I have also, because I am specially focusing on tunnels and how tunnels can reduce carbon footprints and make a green world. So basically that is also part of the sustainable mobility. So we'll come on that. We will request you to show the film, and then till then the partners can also speak. Thank you.
Construction of the Zojila Tunnel project will make this mammoth task possible by creating a seamless connectivity between Srinagar, Kargil and Leh on NH1 with Ladakh. It will overcome any kind of communication barrier created by inclement weather at any time of the year. Constructing a tunnel at a terrain of 3,524 meters altitude is a challenging task in itself, but it is not impossible. The successful completion of the project will ensure transportation, encourage tourism, and will also lead to a high-scale increase of commercial activity. The engineers, officers, and the workforce are all working day and night to help this mega project see the light of the day. We salute their dedication, hard work, and perseverance. Even in inclement weather, the workers are working day and night to ensure the successful completion of the project. The undying spirit of the workers is indeed laudable. The laying of foundation of the project was done by the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi in May 2018. The actual work of the tunnel began on 15th October 2020 with a ceremonial blast by the Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways Shri Nitin Gadkari. This project is being executed by National Highways and Infrastructural Development Corporation Limited. It is being implemented under RO Srinagar by PMU Sonamar. The 13.145 kilometer long Zojila tunnel will be two-lane equipped with SCADA system, constructed using NATM technology, and its longest road tunnel and Asia's longest bi-directional tunnel. The Zojila tunnel is planned as a smart tunnel and will have the latest safety features like transverse ventilation system, firefighting systems, emergency calling systems, uninterrupted power supply, emergency lighting, CCTV monitoring, tunnel radio telephony system with a control room for traffic control. We are happy to share with you that we are rapidly progressing ahead. Work in progress with 37% heading and 7% benching in Zojila tunnel. Work is in progress on 8-kilometer long stretch of the 17.676 kilometer approach road. Excavation work on Tunnel 1 and Tunnel 2 at Nilgrar location have been completed, and lining work of Tunnel 1 has been completed and of Tunnel 2 is in progress. All 6 foundations, 25 girders and 5 number spans of Major Grade 1 all 5 foundations, 20 girders of Major Bridge 2, 15 out of 18 foundations of Major Bridge 3, and 3 foundations out of 4 and 3 girders out of 6 for Minor Bridge 1 have been constructed. Girder erection of Major Bridge 2, 3 foundations of Major Bridge number 3 and 1 foundation of Minor Bridge are under construction. Total 39 culverts are to be constructed in the project. 34 numbers of culverts have been completed and work on 5 numbers is under progress. Tunneling by cut and cover is also under progress at various locations. This project will prove to be a bliss for Kashmir and is a great step taken by the Government of India for the security of the nation and socio-economic development of the region. Travel time will be reduced from 2 hours to just 15 minutes to cross the mighty Zojila Park. The project will generate huge employment for the locals. The impossible is being turned into possible.
So, Sanketji, one of the things I mentioned when we saw a video of this a year prior was that the terrain is so forbidding and the region is so extreme that to create infrastructure in a region like this, our country is so diverse and we have some regions which are so forbidding that it's incredible. And one of the other things that you mentioned when we were discussing this is that not only are you creating this infrastructure, but you've been able to do this project under budget, which is even more impressive. So congratulations to you and the ministry. Raman-san, may I request you for some opening remarks?
So thank you, Dhruv, for having me here today. It's an honor to be on this panel with Sanketji and Puneet. The topic today of sustainability, I think that's something which is we from the mobility community always need to look at, and there are various imperatives which we need to take. So what I feel is that when we look at this whole topic, and when we look at India, and we look at how what India would be in the next 20 years, 30 years, there's a huge opportunity which I believe is there. And why I say that, there are very specific parameters which look at mega trends which are there, where India today is participating in a big way. Is connectivity is one. Second is about infrastructure, and as was seen by the by the comments of Sanketji and the movie, the kind of infrastructure which is being built is, I think, is going to kickstart, or it's going to the mobility is going to go to a different level altogether. What it is going to be is something which we need to talk about. The third thing is about the demographics, and India is a young nation, and so the aspiration and the growth of and the youth of India, that is also going to propel some of these things. And lastly is about the the environment itself. That's going to be key. When we look at mobility, why do people move from point A to point B? Is essentially till now is for economic reasons. One needs to move from place A to place B. But today it's also about leisure and about other things. So if you look at a statistic today, when we're talking about mobility today, 3% of India moves in passenger cars, and 12% move in two-wheelers, and 18% move in public transport. 12% are moving in a bicycle. 30% don't move at all. And so there is a huge opportunity, I believe, that if the economic growth of India has to happen, people have to be mobile and have to move from place A to place B. Having said that, key point is, when we are doing this, we need to do it in a sustainable manner. And that's going to be the challenge going forward, especially in view of the Government of India's target and the Honorable Prime Minister's vision, 2070, we need to be carbon neutral. And if that is so, how do we do this in a sustainable manner? This imperative of economic growth, infrastructure, rapid urbanization, sustainable growth, and sustainable mobility. I think these are things which we need, are things where there are challenges, opportunities, and also certain things which we need, which I think are very unique to India, and India needs to find unique solutions for itself. And I think definitely, I think today I'm from all of the panelists, I'm going to be, I'm going to learn a lot today about this, especially from Sanket ji, because a lot of work is happening, and I must compliment Ministry of Road Transport and the Honorable Minister for the infrastructure development which is happening. And he always says to us as automobiles that the more roads I build, you should be happy, So, so I think that's something which we always look forward to, the infrastructure development. So I think definitely, I think sustainable mobility and sustainable development is going to be key going forward. And I'm sure, we'll have ample points to discuss going forward. Thank you for this opportunity, Dhruv.
Thank you, Raman. Thank you for really putting it in perspective for us. And 2 points that really struck me. One is that, as you said, the solution has to be suitable for India. It has to be driven by our needs. And the other point, and really that's the reason we're having this conversation, is that we don't know what that solution is going to be today. Sometimes we get more clarity and sometimes we get more confusion. So that's really where the debate lies. Puneet, if I could request you for your opening remarks, please.
So first of all, good evening everyone, and thanks Dhruv for giving me an opportunity again to be part of this glorious event, the Smart City Expo. And I think it's my privilege that I am again meeting Mr. Sanket. Last year he was also on the panel, and Mr. C.V. Raman from Maruti Suzuki. When we talk of smart mobility solutions, at Hyundai we have our global vision, which is called Progress for Humanity. And this single vision is based on 2 clear pillars. One pillar is of innovation and the other pillar of sustainability. So what we very strongly feel that going forward as a mobility manufacturer, the job of us is not only to manufacture cars for mobility, but to manufacture mobility solutions which are sustainable in nature. And when we look at our western part of the world, where people have started realizing that unless and until we do not really invest into these future mobility solutions, there will always be a lot of challenges going forward for the economic sustainability of a society. And that's where, with this global vision, we have been investing not only in manufacturing, but in technologies which can help us to manufacture sustainable products. In fact, I was very nostalgic to see this Zojila Pass video. And why? Because I had a personal experience, and not far off, but just a couple of months back, in the month of November 2022, when we had actually launched our sustainable SUV, the Hyundai Tucson. And some of you must have seen it, which is on display also over here. And my friend Mr. Ishan Raghav sitting over here is a witness to this, because we had a drive which we wanted to take our media people from Kashmir to through Zojila Pass, and we had to cross that pass at 8:30 in the evening in 14 Tucsons. And at 5:30, the DGBR says, because there is a great big snow avalanche on the Zojila Pass, so we will not let these cars pass away. But when they saw the commitment with our media people, they are all great drivers, they are great motorists, and our product, which is ADAS level 2 certified, they said that we will allow you to go on your own risk. And it was so nostalgic, it was so heartening to see that we crossed the Zojila Pass. Obviously the tunnel is yet not opened, and we crossed at 8:30 in the night, and we reached Kargil at around 9:30, I remember, and this was just 3 months back. But when we look at this state-of-the-art innovation and the investment which the Ministry of Road Transport is doing, it is such a heartening future development of our country. I recently, day before yesterday, witnessed the new mega highway, the NE4, or the Delhi-Mumbai Expressway, wherein we went for another drive. and I would say it's a masterpiece for the country like India, because not only it's a great highway, but it is also a very sustainable and a very smart highway. And now the job is in the hand of us as manufacturers, so that we can collaborate with the government, we can collaborate with the people, and we can create these smart mobility solutions wherein the roads are not only used for transporting from point A to point B, but transporting future of mobility. And that's where products like our Ionic 5, which is in true sense a sustainable battery electric vehicle, which I think is also on the display over here. And in some of the time I will also share some of the sustainable points which we have actually incorporated into manufacturing technologies. And I think that's where, as a responsible manufacturer, the manufacturing operations will be headed into. And we are very happy to be partnering the government on various initiatives. And today on this platform of smart cities, I'm sure some of these ideas will really work out into practical solutions, and India will become a benchmark for the future sustainable mobilities. And that's where we look forward to being a partner of this movement. I think that's the premise with which we at Hyundai are working tirelessly to provide these meaningful, sustainable, innovative solutions.
Thank you, Puneet. You relayed your incident at Zuzilla recently. One of the things that Sanketji was just mentioning is that not only will the tunnel allow you to reduce the travel time to 15 minutes, but it will be year-round and will not be weather dependent. Sanketji, two questions for you. One is that yesterday when the Honorable Minister was here, he was also saying that you're using waste in highway construction. So in your mind, what does it mean, sustainable mobility? What does that mean? And secondly, what do you expect from the industry? Because we have two stalwarts of the industry.
See, I will tell you a recent example. We were in a program in Jamshedpur. Everybody knows Jamshedpur. So the Jamshedpur-Ranchi NH corridor, that is something the heart of the industrial belt, well, coal, steel and all that. You will not believe, you must believe, almost 15 to 20% of the steel and iron slag. Now just note it, steel and iron slag is used in that road. This is a recent example, as soon as you told the West, because in India, when we talk about something sustainable, yes, we are also talking about a circular economy, something which is very much a need. In Delhi we are sitting here and we see in newspaper that the heaps and bounds of the Ghazipur and all. So we are building almost 60,000 crore expressway around Delhi to decongest Delhi, and all this waste, this जो भी urban sewage है, all that, to after segregation we are using that. So apart from waste, I will say yes, that is sustainable development, but adding to Puneet, I am going a step further. I was just thinking the mobility should also be safe and sensitive. Now why safe? I am building a tunnel. Why I am building a tunnel? Because there are accidents and we see the buses going down, turtling down, 22 people die, 50 people die, and that's why we are building tunnels. So tunnels, obviously being green tunnel, there is no cutting of forest, we are going underground, is safe, there is no relocation, rehabilitation of the villages and all that. It's quite a green, green project, but also it's safe. So I will say safety, road safety is very important. With the automobile sector, they are doing their best with all the things they are doing with the airbags and the seat belts and the awareness, education, enforcement, engineering and all that what we do. But the road safety, I think the safe mobility is something which we should now push on. With this, I will also say about something which is very sensitive, because in today's world you will see we have a lot of old age people. We can see the Divyangs here. I have worked a little bit for the social sector, that's why I am connecting this here. So we have a lot of old age people, we have the physical challenge people, that they have the right to use this mobility perfectly, and they have that right to use this platform. In my life, apart from the tunnels, we are building a lot of ropeways. We are building funicular ropeways, the cable propel technology and all that. So basically why? Because it should be accessible to all. it should be barrier free to all. That is the real smart mobility. That is the inner mobility. What is smart? Smart is not just being smart. Smart is actually touching you. What you can help for the common Indian. We have a lot of old age population, the aging population. In every house we have a mother, father, grandfather we take care of. So basically that is all smart mobility. So obviously the waste and all we are using it. I gave an example, I can give 100 examples. I have less time. But the tunnel, I will say, I visited this tunnel last year. मैं जाऊँगा, मैं देखूँगा, और मैंने इनको बताया नहीं मैं आ रहा हूँ. And I went. And हमेशा की तरह वो जी सर ये वो सब showing me all the a very good picture कि everything is fine. But when you go there, you talk with the laborers. 4,000 laborers work there. And even at the peak of December when it's -12, -15 and the snow is 40 feet, there are 50 to 100 laborers who are there. I spoke to one of them. That is how you get some inputs. So what I feel is basically Zojila project was just because it was a masterpiece. It is one of the longest tunnel in the world. One of the longest tunnel. I don't claim it to be the longest, but Zojila tunnel, it will change the dynamics. That's why I showed the video. But I think yes, we are doing a lot. This is water, and the minister must have spoken about the hydrogen. That the hydrogen cars and the vehicles are coming. I think Maruti, Hyundai, jaldi jitna jaldi kar le, utna petrol, diesel se nijat milegi. So lot of things are we are doing, but yes, we have to go along. Lot of things are to be done. Technology we are exploring. In ropeways, I will talk about the ropeways. We are building 250 ropeways in India. Honorable PM just recently, 2 days back, did the Bhumi Pujan of the Varanasi ropeway project. We laid the foundation stone for the Kedarnath ropeway project. I am going Kedarnath next month now to see that. So basically, what is ropeway? Ropeway is a smart mobility. Last mile connectivity is smart mobility. A person expects कि मुझे यार ट्रेन से उतरने के बाद बस की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़े, बस से उतरने के बाद ऑटो की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़े, ऑटो के बाद मुझे कम चलना पड़े. To be practical, I will define this is smart mobility. So what is a ropeway? Ropeway basically, when we see, we are giving the example of Zojila, it is connecting the two diverse regions, but in Bharatmala program, we are building almost 250 ropeways. So this is a very different segment. Again, if I start talking on this, it will be a long day, but anyway, I think that is all what can I say, Dhruv.
Thank you, Sanket. I think next time we need to block a 3-hour window if that's ever possible. But you raise a very important point. I mean, many times we ask, what is a smart city? And a smart city really is providing citizen services, making the lives of citizens easier. So what is smart mobility? Smart mobility is providing access to mobility solutions to every citizen. And really that's what is smart mobility. But Raman-san, can I switch topics quickly and ask you about something that we discussed recently? And that was, many times we look at emissions maybe at the tailpipe, or we look at emissions in a particular way. But one of the things we discussed is the importance of looking at well to wheel. So you look at emissions in the entire life cycle of a vehicle, let's say. So in your mind, because you're a veteran of the industry, you've been doing this engineering now for so many years, what is the best way for us to actually look at what is the environmental impact of a vehicle?
Whenever I look at this kind of equation about sustainability and about some of the aspect of life cycle analysis, life cycle emissions you've talked about, I think it's important to understand where India stands today and where or what are the things opportunities which are available for India. And I believe that again we need not copy whatever is there as a solution which is there for a developed country to India. India has to find its own solution. We are very clear that as far as India is concerned, almost 90% of our energy we import. Out of that, if you just look at gasoline, 65% is used by two-wheelers, 35% is used by four-wheelers. And so we want to reduce this. So their multi-pronged approach, I believe, is important in such a situation, which can actually make steps towards reaching your goal of becoming carbon neutral by 2070. So if you look at, say, a CNG today, clean fuel gives you 25% reduction in carbon dioxide emissions. On a life cycle emissions, if you look at, maybe because the energy consumption for extracting that and then also using in the product is how the calculation happens. But if you look at, you talked about waste, and Mr. Sanket talked about waste and using it in road building. Waste to energy is possible to be done, and you can convert that energy into compressed biogas. When you use compressed biogas in a CNG vehicle, you are actually using a carbon negative fuel, because you have this waste which is there, which would have gone into the atmosphere as methane. You are harnessing it, using it, and then reducing. The GWP of the methane is much, much higher, and so therefore you can actually use it for reducing the carbon footprint. This is a solution which I believe the government is also very keenly looking at through the Satat scheme. There are many, I think almost 500 LOIs which have been given. If the oil companies, which they are looking at it in a big way, this is a conversion which is possible. And when we talked about this life cycle emissions in this perspective, definitely this is carbon negative. Second example I can talk about is about ethanol. Government is looking at ethanol in a big way. The Honorable Minister, Mr. Gadkari, is huge proponent of ethanol, and E20 is going to happen now. It already happened 1st of April. All vehicles of automotive manufacturers are going to be E20 compliant. E20, when it becomes 100% in 2025, will make our vehicles also compliant. This is again grain to energy, or sugarcane or molasses to energy, again a carbon neutral, carbon negative kind of fuel, which can actually reduce your dependence on fuel, and that's imperative again for India. We are also working on flex fuel. Mr. Gadkari is a huge proponent of flex fuel, and he's pushing the industry, and the four-wheeler manufacturers are two-wheeler manufacturers. All two-wheeler manufacturers are going to bring in flex fuel vehicles by 2024. They were displayed, and the Honorable Minister had seen that. Four-wheeler is going to happen in 2025. Again, when we are doing that, you're again from life cycle emissions, you're actually reducing it, and you're using food or some of these towards that goal. Two other technologies I'll talk about. One is about hybrid technology, and hybrid technology does reduce the fuel efficiency by 35%. It is a kind of a self-charging technology where in a city like Delhi or anywhere, you are actually driving on a EV electric mode for almost 40% of your drive, and you must have experienced this, Dhruv. And so I think that's another direction which we need to take. And lastly is about the electric vehicle, where today one can look at and say that okay, the life cycle emission from that perspective today the equation may not look right. It doesn't look right because the renewable component of our electricity is maybe about 35-40%. And when that by 2030 it becomes 60%, 65%, then it becomes much better looking from a life cycle emission perspective. And lastly is about hydrogen. We talked a little bit about hydrogen. Hydrogen again is definitely how we can produce green hydrogen is going to be key. Today we have various forms of hydrogen which are available, but they may not be carbon neutral. If you are able to do green hydrogen, definitely that is going to help. So in a way, a basket and a slew of solutions for India is going to be the way forward, I believe, which is going to take precedence, which is going to, have a higher place, is something I can't say at this point of time. But one thing is sure, for all this, infrastructure is key. And if you have the infrastructure to do this, whether it's a CNG station or a CBG station, whether it's ethanol or whether it is electric vehicle or it is, this is going to be key going forward. And if you are able to build up this infrastructure, which infrastructure is going to work, including hydrogen? Hydrogen also requires, infrastructure. And so that is going to be the, a direction which India needs to decide which direction to take. But I believe at this point of time, as technology providers, as mobility providers, we believe that we need to work on all these vectors together in parallel and see so that, and because of our segments, vehicles which are there in different types of segments, two-wheelers to four-wheelers, every segment may have a different solution, I believe. And what can be adopted for that to make sense is something which we all need to work. Sorry, a little long answer, but
no,
I thought it was important.
Thank you, Raman sir. As always, you put it beautifully in perspective. And for somebody like me, who's we publish an auto magazine, so this provides us with great content. We put a platform like this together, and it gives us the opportunity to have this wide-ranging discussion. But as a regulator and as an automaker, I mean, it to me sounds like such an incredibly daunting task, because you have so many different variables. I mean, it almost seems to, where do you start? So, Puneet, if I can throw that question to you, that as an automaker, I mean, Hyundai, as we discussed a minute ago, you have a dedicated hydrogen R&D center in Seoul. You have a production vehicle which is on the roads in different parts of the world which runs on hydrogen. You have an EV which is displayed out here. It's a beautiful vehicle. I've had the opportunity of using it for some time. We've done long road trips in it, and now the technology has moved to a point where the range anxiety does not kick in that easily, or that quickly rather. So the infrastructure is not as much of an issue. You need a charger at your home, you need a charger at your destination, and typically everything else in between is taken care of. But sitting here today with access to all this technology, how do you plan ahead, and what do you foresee as the mix in the future? Whether it's hybrid, petrol, diesel, electric, hydrogen, flex fuel, how do you plan for that?
So I think, very interesting situation India is into. So as a country, we are all evolving into a very multifaceted customers, and the government, in fact, hats off to the dream of our Honorable PM, and hats off to Mr. Gadkari's whose vision of making India a multiple fuel technology hub is really bearing fruits. There were times when we were only looking at diesel and petrol, but I think it was the hard work and the commitment and the dream with which the ministries brought many regulations in the last couple of years only. India was the only country which leapfrogged from BS4 to BS6 in 2019. And I think hats off to all the manufacturers who worked together in giving a very clean mobility solutions to this country. Coming 1st April 2023, we will be seeing a very important regulation kicking in, which is the RDE, or the real driving emissions, which again will be compliant for all the auto manufacturers. E20, Mr. Raman talked at length. CNG, we are talking of EV revolution, we are talking of hybrid, and we are talking of hydrogen. And I think rightly mentioned, at Hyundai we feel that technology cannot be only single vertical. It has to be spread evenly in all the directions, because there will be some challenges when it comes to the adoption of these technologies. And that's where in 2019 we actually set up our Hyundai Hydrogen Mobility Company, and wherein we started experimenting with the future of mobility, especially in terms of long-term mobility, which is the hydrogen fuel. And I'm very happy to share that in the last couple of years, from 2019, we've actually partnered, not small places, but countries, ushering in the revolution of hydrogen mobility. To say an example, in Switzerland, we have partnered with the government, and there are Shiant, that's the technology, that's the truck, which is doing its service over the last 3 years. Around 47 trucks have been pressed into services. 5.5 million kilometers has already been done by those trucks, and the results are mind-boggling. The customers who are the real owners of these trucks, and they are using it for variety of purposes, whether it is transportation, whether it is logistics, whether it is material movement, they are very happy with the technology. And buoyed by the success of this collaboration in Switzerland, now the German government has already worked with Hyundai, and around 30 more trucks are now being pumped into Germany. And next year, very soon, we'll be coming into California, where another 37 trucks into long distance driving East Coast, West Coast will be working along with the government for bringing these sustainable mobility solutions. In fact, I will just take you back to the question which you asked to Mr. Sanket, and that was on how sustainably these manufacturing prowess, or I would say technology marvels are these. Take for example our Ioniq, which is, in fact you just mentioned, it is standing here. Some of the components which we are using and making this car itself talks about sustainability. For example, the fabric with which we are making the seats and the seat backs and some of the upholstery is actually coming from these PET bottles. Each Ioniq, 32 PET bottles are being shredded into pallets. They are being woven into a special plastic, and then it is made into a fabric, and that fabric is being used into making that seat. The paint which we are using on our crash pads, on the switches, on the door handles is a special bio paint which is coming from the extracts of some organic plants. The headlinings, the carpet which we see on the car is actually coming from the biomass which we are getting from the sugarcane and the corn extract. And similarly, some of the eco-mobility leather solutions which we are giving in the car are coming from flaxseed oil. So you see, this is a complete mobility ecosystem which we are developing by looking at natural elements which are becoming part and parcel of our mobility solutions. We launched our Kona, which was the first BEV of the battery electric vehicle in 2019, and recently during this Auto Expo we launched the Ioniq 5, which incidentally is also the World Car of the Year. But that's the confidence which the customers of this great country and the customers of the entire world are giving, that they are wanting to adapt to these meaningful solutions. And we are very strongly partnering with various government, with various ministries, so that we can offer these future technologies at the right time. But I think one thing very important, what Mr. Raman mentioned in the end, is that all of this success will depend upon the infrastructure. And that's where I really commend again the government of India. And I just gave you an example that the future highways are basically, they are the pillars of our progress. If we are able to convert these highways into smart mobility transfer solutions, I think that infrastructure problem will also be taken care of. For example, we are actually partnering with various highway authorities, and we are setting up these smart charging solutions on the highways itself. Last month we set up a smart ultra high charging facility between Delhi to Chandigarh highway, which has two high-speed chargers. The ultra high-speed chargers are around 150 kilowatt, and a fast-speed charger which is around 80 kilowatt. So you could actually charge your Kona or an Ioniq in 21 minutes using this highway. I mean, that's the time which you take to take a cup of coffee, and by the time your car is fully charged, from 10% to 80%. Similarly, between Hyderabad to Vizag, one more modern charging station has already been put, and we are looking into various other state highways where we can partner with the government and we can set up these charging solutions so that that range anxiety is totally gone from the people. So in terms of technology, in terms of safety, which I think Mr. Sanket mentioned, so most of the cars we are now equipping with ADAS level 2, so that you can also be ensured of not only the body quality but also the driving dynamics as far as the Indian road conditions are concerned. So I think it's a great collaboration, technology, mobility, sustainability. If all of this can be interwoven into one unique ecosystem, we should be looking at a faster adoption. And that's the beauty about country India, because what we saw 3 years back probably we never realized how fast the adoption of these EVs will become. And today, you can all see these EVs zipping past in our country. And I'm very confident the aim of the government also is to see that EVs penetration should be around 30% by 2030. But I'm confident that we'll be able to achieve this much before that. And with the multiple fuels or the flex fuel technology is also coming into India. E20 is already reality from 1st April. Flex fuel coming as a reality from 2025. So all these technologies will help us to also fasten ourselves also, being at par with the global technologies and give those solutions so that customer could actually choose whether he wants to buy a CNG, whether he wants to buy a petrol, whether he wants to buy a EV, whether he wants to buy a hybrid, or he wants to go for a flex fuel. All these technologies will be at the beck and call. And I think all the return on investment for a customer will also be very easily calculated. Today on an EV, probably your per kilometer cost is just 50 paisa, which is actually speaking one of the most affordable solutions. And that's where the adoption of technology will also increase very rapidly. And the collaboration is something which will really work wonders for this country. And I think we are ready for this solution. This exhibition itself is a proof. Around 1,000 exhibitors, am I right, are putting up. And so many innovative startups coming up for these smart mobility solution. I think we are in for a great surprise, and we are looking for the transformation of the Indian automotive landscape in a very short span of time.
Thank you, Puneet.
I will just add to Puneet. We were talking about smart mobility. Two things just struck my mind about smart highways. I would like to tell you all. Electric charging and all we were talking about. One is the electric highway. Now what we are focusing on. What is the electric highway? Many of us must have seen in Europe about the electrical shuttling buses which are near the airports and in the cities, and that connecting arm which goes zip. So, but here in India, what we are planning is basically for, apart from the urban part, also for freight part. And as we are building these greenfield corridors, we have left the ROW, the space, how the electric highway will come. So as we were discussing that the infrastructure is a real growth engine, and that is how we are planning it, one. Second is about the smart highways, is the digital. So you know that there is a road and there are some cable line, optical fibers and all that utility shifting and all that, and that was traditional conventional ho gaya. Today what we have done is, now we have separated that contract from the road contract, and there is a duct, there is a common duct. So railways, power, all other urban ministry or any other private sector which needs that, gas pipeline, water pipeline, the optical fiber, that's the real crux. We have in fact up to 30 centimeter we have given it free of cost, and up to 1.5, both part of this green field, we have given it to the separate contractor who will build, design, build, operate and give. It's just plug and play. So these are two things which are coming up. I think from the last 1 year, the planning has been done. In fact, Hyderabad-Bangalore corridor and the Delhi-Mumbai corridor. Delhi-Mumbai is 1365 kilometers. It is 100 kilometers less than the brownfield actual Delhi-Mumbai. So we are laying these optical fiber, these pipeline and all. Again with the Hyderabad-Bangalore in the South India, we are doing this. So I think this is a smart transformation. And this I thought I should tell you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanket. I have to say that when you say things like this and when you talk, it's music to our ears. Because I think everyone who's a citizen of India will know that when the road is laid, the first thing that happens is that they start digging on the side, because something or the other has to be optical fiber cable or a water line or something else has to be laid. So
I visited Sweden 2 years back with the minister. So we are talking about the EV charging and all. We are struggling with that. Every mode is different. We don't have a universal, charging system like. So they showed us two technologies. One is the electric highway like that, connecting arm and all, and that was an induction. There were plates on the road, and the vehicle get charges with the as it moves. So, but that's very costly. Today it is 10 times electric. So there are things to come. I think as Raman also said that with time, all this will come together. But India is very fast in these all things, and I think that this expo, like the Arts 8 Smart City Expo, we are arranging here. Here the people come, they see what is going on, and lot of international firms are also here. So I met a person in morning from Tanzania. I forgot the name. They came to meet the minister, and they said that they are a part of this expo. They have a stall and all that. And I was just discussing. So they had many good options. They gave us some 2 or 3 good options. The minister was very interested to discuss with that. Why I am saying is because we get a lot of good things to know from such expos. And I think that with smart mobility, soon India, I think within the next 4 or 5 years, EV will be like going away and hydrogen will be coming. So in that way we are going fast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanketji. I have so many questions that it's taking all my willpower to restrain myself, because it's 5 to 7. We're way over our allotted time, and I really want to thank all you folks who've been kind enough to join us for this panel and to sit through this panel. I really wish that I could open it up for questions, but looking at the time, I think it's just not possible. One question. Do we have a mic? If we can, so while we wait for your question, gentlemen, if I could request your closing remarks, if you have just a quick 30-second closing remark. Sanketji, if I could start from you.
See, India have taken off. Infrastructure obviously is the base of any smartness. I will say that I am in the ministry where we are performing like very fast. I told you that we are almost 38 kilometers per day. That is a time when once upon a time it was just 4 to 5 kilometers a day. And when I talk of 38 kilometers, I am talking of 1 kilometer of a whole national highway. I am not talking of lanes. So I am not fooling you ki there are some 8 lanes and I am counting into 8. No, one thing. So I think we are going very fine. Tunnels, ropeways, obviously the cable propelled technologies and all, and this all green financing. This will definitely give a big good smart and sustainable push. But as I said that for us the concern is also safety. When a person or persons die on a road accident or something, he's walking, even a pedestrian, it really hurts. And today we are losing 1.5 lakh people every year. इतने लोग तो ना जंग में मरे हैं ना कोविड में मरे थे. So we need to work a lot. That's why I said safe mobility and sensitive. It should be for all. I think that is the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanketji. Raman sir.
Kind of echo what Sanketji has talked about. I think the opportunity of the infrastructure and the connectivity which we have got in the digitalization, adoption of digitalization increasingly by India. I think this is huge opportunity which is there, and also along with that, the software prowess of India. I think that's something which we are doing so many things for the world. And if they are able to do a lot more things for India, and a combination of this can really work very well going forward. And I totally echo the sentiments of Sanketji that we need to look at smart, safer, connected, comfortable, mobility solutions for India, which are also affordable for the people of India in all forms. And that's what I think we all need to strive as mobility professionals.
Puneet?
I think no two thoughts on that. I think safe and sustainable, smart, future-oriented, innovative. That's what is the buzz line going now. India is a young country. We have people who are fast adopters of these technologies. And I think it is the responsibility of we as a manufacturers to connect that dots and give the people what they want. But I also must add one thing, that as a manufacturer, our responsibility does not only lie in giving world-class products, but our responsibility also is to ensure that the factories which make those products should also be very meaningful and sustainable. And I think that's something which has to be ingrained in every manufacturer. India is the future production hub of the world. But let us not go the way other countries have gone. And that is where I think there is a lesson for us also to learn, that in our zeal and fight for producing these modern products, we should not lose our vision of making the sustainable manufacturing solutions in our factories. And that is the goal with which we have also ensured that our state-of-the plant in Tamil Nadu actually has 6 rain harvesting ponds, which have the capacity of holding around 380,000 kiloliters of water during the rain surplus period. And that water is being used into doing various works in the plant so that we are not dependent upon the public supply. Similarly, we are also harnessing the power of sun by having 10 megawatt of solar power plant in our factory, which helps us to conserve our future energy requirements. So much so that 86% of the power used in our plant is basically coming from renewable sources. So a meaningful plant equipped with meaningful sustainable manufacturing operations, churning out meaningful sustainable products for the sustainable mobility solution is something which will help India differentiate itself from the rest of the world. And that will bring laurels to this country, that will make us a proud nation, and that will make our future generations live longer lives and breathe in the safety of the environment. And that's where manufacturers, our customers, our government, and various stakeholders need to work together so that we can really give what a true sustainable solution is there to this planet. And I think that's what should be the dedication and the commitment for everyone sitting in this room, and for everyone who's listening to us, and everyone who's working for the benefit of this great nation. I think that's my final comment for everyone over here.
Thank you. Please forgive me. I think we'll take the question offline because it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah, a little bit. Actually.
Okay,
I want to share a thought before a question here. While I was traveling from Mumbai to Delhi to attend this session, I can see able to see the construction of a highway easily from 10,000 feet. 10 years back, when I was traveled from Chicago to say New York, the highways are visible. But then now in India, we can see those highways from 10,000 feet as well. I should say thank you to Nitin Gadkari for their vision to complete this. Now the question is for mass transit, of course, where we are looking India after 10 years for the mass transit.
See, for the mass transit, basically, obviously, we will focus first on the urban sectors. So, urban mobility is also a part, because what I understand with the mass transit is like in a space where a lot of people in short time they should move. So, basically, that's not my part of my ministry, but we are going with the metros and many things. But yes, with the intercity connect, like between two cities like Ahmedabad, Mumbai and all, there are, as I said, that electric highways. Now this is one example, is a beautiful and fantastic example which is a part of mass transit, where a lot of passengers in a go can just travel. One, we have listened and we are working on Hyperloop, which is still in some nascent stage, but yes, we are working on that. So I think these are some of the examples where we are going ahead, but I am very much hopeful and I am confident, in fact, that within next 10 years we will be sitting here and that will be like a very normal word. Yes, this is happening. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to add, I think it's a very important question, mass transport. And I don't know whether some of you had the chance to visit our Auto Expo, this pavilion, wherein we had actually kept a replica of our smart city which we are developing in Singapore. Now what happens is that for the future mass mobility solutions which are also sustainable, we are working on various models called like UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles, wherein a person can get point-to-point connectivity in any BVs or pods. I think Mr. Gadkari has been very vocal about these new pod technologies. And once your pod reaches a central station, from there are hydrogen-propelled UAVs which can take you from one place to the other without disturbing the normal ecosystem. These trials are already on way, and we are very confident by 2030 or 2028 to be precise. Probably the first smart future mass transit city will be ready in one part of the world, and then it is the matter of just replicating the success. hyperloops, port transfers, overhead trams. I think these are some future solutions, and with the coming up of hydrogen as a reality solution or as a possible energy provider, will something which will help us, because the exhaust for a hydrogen is actually pure ZEV or zero emission vehicle. I think that's where the future will ultimately lie.
Thank you. I think in conclusion, all I can say is that I'm not sure if we've been able to provide very much clarity, but in my mind, what this session has done is it's provided me with optimism, because all the solutions that we've discussed seem very tangible, seem very doable, and really what it takes is a mindset towards sustainability and a responsibility. And that's what I see here, both on the part of the regulator and on the part of the manufacturers. So really, it's sustainability is coming one way or the other. What shape or form it takes, we'll see.
I will politely object to Dhruv. See, government is now not a regulator. You must call us a facilitator.
Correct.
So please take it, because I think that we are facilitating a lot, and that's why we are getting a lot of appreciation. Thank you.
So on that note, as you said, Sanketji, you are absolutely a facilitator. May I please request a round of applause for the entire panel.
Yeah, many thanks to the entire panel. Thank you, Sanketji. Thank you, Puneetji. Thank you, sir, for showing us this future of safe, secure, cost-efficient, energy-efficient mobility, and which is in fact unfolding in front of us. It's no more future. As you showed us the Jojila Pass, how it is being built, and you spoke about the hydrogen, the EV cars are going to be probably replaced with the hydrogen powered cars, and our Honorable Minister in fact drives the hydrogen powered car. So thank you so very much, and I would like to request Mr. Dhruv Behl to kindly present this token of our gratitude, appreciation to our speakers. Thank you so very much once again, Shri Sanketji. Thank you, Mr. Raman. And thank you very much, Mr. Puneet Anand. Thank you, sir. So thank you to all of you also. It's been a long day, but I think this last session was the icing on a cake, looking into the future. We now draw curtains for the day.